Hello dear students, welcome to the Power Electronics class of the Tech Faculty Initiative of Let's Crack the Gate. So let's begin the class of this third lecture of the Power Electronics AC/DC Rectifier series. So till now we have studied about half wave, single phase, half wave rectifier with resistive load and with inductive load. So in my last lecture I have given you some tasks of determining the average and output voltage of a RL half wave rectifier with RL load, and also asked you to determine why this average value will be 0 and this RMS value of output voltage for a pure inductive load will be Vm by root 2. So here we can see that the answer is very simple. The output voltage is similar to the input voltage, and we know that for a sine wave the RMS value comes out to be Vm by root 2. That's why its value is Vm by root 2, and we know that for a sine wave the average value is 0. Since the output is also a sine wave, that's why the average value is also 0. And another task for getting the output of this value, this load, is that if you might have calculated, this value comes out to be Vm 1 minus cos beta over 2 pi. Hope you have all have done this, and similarly in this way you have to calculate this RMS value also. So now let's move on to the next load, that is single phase AC/DC rectifier with RLE load. Now when you go for the RLE load, this is also very common type of load such as motor load, battery charging circuits load and all. So this is our circuit with single phase half wave rectifier with diode, and this is our load value. So last time I have already discussed in my previous lecture about how we take the output voltage here, that is terminal to terminal. So output voltage is V naught, that is from A to B in my reference, and that the reference current output is I naught. This is reference diode voltage, reference diode current, and reference source voltage, reference source current. So now let's start with the waveforms. So this is my source value. Okay. So let's mark the instants first. And now let's mark the E value. Now you see that this E is going to reverse bias the diode, the role of this E. Suppose if this source becomes 0, what is the value role of E here? this E will try to make this diode reverse bias. So let's mark this like that. If E would have reverse polarities, here the polarities are plus and minus. If the polarities of E are reversed, then in that case the E should be marked here with reference to 0, it will be negative. But here E is with these polarities, so with reference to 0, the E will be marked like this. So all right. So this is E, this is source voltage, and with amplitude Vm. These are instants 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, and so on. Now let's mark other also. So we have also got, we have to draw output voltage and we have to draw load current. After that we have several quantities to draw, such as source current and all, and diode voltage also. So now let's draw the load voltage. So before drawing the load voltage, just see one thing here. Just prior to this point where E and V source voltage are meeting each other, here the E voltage is greater than the source voltage. So till the time E is greater than Vs source value, till that time the diode will remain off condition. By just now I have explained that because this E will cause the diode to reverse biased. Now as soon as E will be greater than, E is less than or equal to source voltage, or in other terms if Vs source voltage is greater than equal to E, in that case the diode will become on. So now let's analyze this circuit. So here you can see in this circuit that till the point where E and source voltage are intersecting each other, in this point here. So prior to this point the diode will remain off condition. So let's mark this point as alpha dash, for example. Alright. So here also it's like, since sine wave is symmetrical, so this point can be pi minus alpha dash. So what is the role of this point, we will discuss for in this lecture further. So here this can be marked as alpha dash plus 2 pi, and so on, these can be marked. Now again applying those steps which we have learned in previous 2 lectures, that first step, that we have to analyze the waveform instant wise. So when we see that during the instant 0 to alpha dash, first when you see the waveform from 0 to alpha dash, in that case you are seeing that since source voltage is less than E, therefore diode is off. So when the diode is off in this duration, obviously the output voltage will be 0, there will be no voltage. Why? Because the diode will be open circuited. Alright, we can draw the circuits like just like modified circuit you can draw, just like previously we have learned. So now going on, and therefore the load current will also be 0. Now going to the second instant, that is from alpha dash to pi minus alpha dash. Now if you see from alpha dash to pi minus alpha dash, you are seeing that Vs is greater than or equal to E, hence the diode will become forward biased and diode will be on. So when diode is on, you can see the modified circuit will be like this. So when the modified circuit is like this, then obviously some current will start flowing, and you see that we are measuring load voltage here from A to B, that is our load voltage. and diode is on, so circuit is connected, hence we can see that load voltage is parallel with source voltage, but load has come in parallel with source at alpha dash instant, and I have told you when it will come to means at means whatever instant this load comes in parallel with the source, from that instant whatever the value of source is there, that will be followed by the load. So here we can see at alpha dash instant the the source voltage has already reached up to this point, so the output will be like this. Like this. Alright, oh sorry, I am analyzing up to pi minus dash. So this is pi minus dash, so till this point we will draw and we will see what is happening after pi minus dash. Alright, now since it is here, and again if you talk about the load current, when talk about the load current, so we have already learned in the RL load that the inductor does not allow instantaneous change of current, hence the current will start rising gradually from 0. Here the current will not rise immediately to some value, no, because inductor will not allow that. So here the current will rise gradually with exponential and sinusoidal behavior, and again the same thing when the inductor current, when the current will rise, obviously you can see here if I draw that, let us say if this is the resistive drop, so here you can see this is the resistive drop by the current, and you can see here this is the inductor voltage, this, and so you can see before this point the inductor voltage, you can see that these dashed lines, this inductor voltage is greater than 0. So when the inductor voltage is greater than 0 means the inductor will charge with these polarities and current will rise, and at this point as soon as the from this point you can see that the voltage of resistance is more than the source voltage, that's why from this point onwards the inductor voltage will be negative. You can see here if you see like this, here the inductor voltage will be negative in this region, and hence from this point onwards the inductor will start de-energizing. So my load current will be like this, it will charge up to some peak and then it starts discharging like this. So I am talking about till pi minus alpha dash. Now comes what will happen after pi minus alpha dash. So here is the answer. Since we have learned this thing that inductor, till the time the inductor does not discharge its energy, it will not allow the circuit to turn off. So to discharge its energy fully or to de-energize itself fully, it requires either some alternate path or it will force the diode to remain turned on. So since at pi minus alpha dash the inductor has got some stored energy in it, it has not discharged fully, that's why it will not allow diode to become reverse biased due to this E, and hence since the current is flowing, so because of high L di by dt, this diode will remain turned on even after pi minus alpha dash. So in this case if the current is flowing through this load, in that case this diode will remain turned on forcefully by the inductor, and hence the diode will remain turned on by the inductor, hence the inductor will discharge from this point like this. And let us assume that inductor is sufficiently large and it is discharging after pi. So because of inductor having carrying some value, that's why this pi minus alpha dash is no longer applicable to this diode. Alright, so it means that since the diode is on, hence the load will continue to follow the source, and hence the output voltage will go like this. But since the inductor is discharging at beta instant, hence the output voltage will continue to follow the load till beta point. Alright, so So the same concept which we have learned with the RL circuit is applicable here also. Now we can see, if we want to write the circuit equation, we can write them like this. Here load voltage is equals to source voltage, and the load current can also be calculated. Now when we talk about next instant, so here we can write the instant, third instant from pi minus alpha dash to pi. We can write that here in this case also diode is on because of high di L di by dt of the inductor, high value of the inductor. Now next instant comes to be pi to beta. Here next instant is pi to beta. So when you talk about pi to beta, here also the diode is on, means in these two instant also this circuit is applicable. But here you can see that in these two instants the inductor is de-energizing. Inductor is de-energizing. Alright, there is no difficulty in understanding this. So now at beta, when the inductor is fully de-energized, there is no force to keep the diode on, and now the diode will become reverse biased because of two factors. What are those two factors? One is E and second is source voltage. Now one thing you have to notice here, that prior to turning on of the diode, when we are talking about the 0 to alpha dash instant, in that instant the output voltage was not 0, but it is equal to E. Why it is so? Because if you draw the circuit for 0 to alpha dash, if you draw the circuit is like this. Alright, E, L, R, and here we are calculating V naught. So although the load is disconnected from the source, so there will be no load current flowing, but some load voltage is appearing due to this E, due to this battery EMF. So hence here also the E voltage, some constant voltage E will be there. Alright, now what will happen after beta? Now our fifth instant we are taking beta to 2 pi. So when we are talking about beta to 2 pi, we know that now the diode is off because of reverse bias due to E also and due to supply also. So when the diode is off, means the circuit is this circuit is applicable. So when this circuit is applicable, here again we can see that the load current is 0, but some E voltage is appearing across the load. So again we will draw some E voltage here. So this is E voltage, this is sinusoidal Vm, then again some E voltage is there, but the load current is 0 in this case. Alright, then again till what point will it will remain 0, the load current will remain 0 or the diode will not turn on? Again start analyzing from 2 pi to alpha dash plus 2 pi. Again if you shift this axis here, the same cycle is repeating, which is 0 to alpha dash, here is replaced by 2 pi to alpha dash plus 2 pi. Again we see that 2 pi to alpha dash plus 2 pi, again the diode is off because source voltage is less than E. So when source voltage is less than E, obviously the diode is off. So the output will again remain E. The output is again E, and output current is also 0. And what is happening again at alpha dash plus 2 pi, the diode is turned on and this circuit is applicable. So when this circuit is applicable, the output voltage will be following the load current, source voltage, and at alpha here also again, since the inductor is sufficiently large, hence till the time inductor does not discharge fully, till that point the diode will remain on. Please note that this load current is not a sine wave, this is exponential plus sinusoidal waveform. Like this. So this is beta plus 2 pi instant, and again from this point the diode will be reverse biased, hence again the output voltage will be E, and this in this way the waveform will continue. Now one more thing which we have to draw here is the diode voltage. What will be the diode voltage in this case? So now here you have to calculate the diode voltage by using KCL and KVL equation in the two circuits. So here if you want to draw the diode voltage, you can see when the circuit is like this, means from alpha dash to omega t minus pi minus alpha dash, till that time means till the time the diode is conducting, the diode voltage will be 0. There is no difficulty in understanding this thing, means till the diode is conducting, the diode voltage will be 0. But what happens when the diode is at off condition? So when the diode is at off condition, means in this circuit, if we write KVL equation, what we'll get? We'll get Vs minus Vd minus V naught equal to 0, and in this case V naught is equal to E. So we can write Vs minus Vd minus E equal to 0, or in simple terms diode voltage is equals to Vs minus E. Now we are writing it for the instant of, so now let's leave that instant. Now since it's a sine wave, this Vs is a sine wave, it's a time varying wave, and this E is a constant. So we have learned this in the mathematics also, that when a time varying wave is added or subtracted by some constant, it results in shifting of the wave on the y axis. If positive is added, then it shifts on the positive y axis, and if negative is added, it shifts on the negative y axis. So if you want to plot this thing, it's very simple. Just see here, I am showing it a separate graph. Here you have got E here, this is my E, and this is my sine wave. So if this is the sine wave and this is E, let's say this is Vm and this is minus Vm, this is E, this is minus Vm. So if you add these two waves, so what will happen? If you add these two waves, this entire wave will shift downwards by E. It means first of all you have to make E here. So I am making E as dotted portion. So E is here, and the whole sine wave is shifted here, shifted downwards. So how the whole sine wave shifted downward means now the sine wave will be drawn like this. Let's mark the instants. So the whole sine wave will be like this. So it will, the 0 will shift to the negative E, the peak will shift to the minus Vm minus E, means it will be like this. And negative peak will shift to minus Vm minus E. So see here, this is my, if you see this, this is my Vs minus E sine wave. Alright, but in our case, if you we have observed that till alpha dash point, means this is my alpha dash point, let's say this is my alpha dash point, this one, till alpha dash point. Why this alpha dash point? Because if you have observed here when the E is becoming equal to source voltage, at that time the net voltage is 0, net voltage across diode is 0. So that's why I am marking where the 0 crossing as alpha dash point. So from alpha dash point to some point beta, let's say if it is beta point, from to this point the diode is on. So till this point, if you want to make the diode voltage here, so again extended it further. So here you can see this is again dotted E with us. Okay, let's mark the peaks also. This peak is Vm minus E and this peak is minus Vm minus E. So when we draw here, so this is the alpha dash point and this is beta point. So here we can see this is, let my mark this alpha dash. So from alpha dash to beta, the output voltage of diode is, sorry, the voltage across diode is 0 because diode was short circuited. But prior to that, there is negative voltage across diode. That's why the diode is reverse biased. So what will be the voltage? It is a shifted sine wave. So from 0 to alpha dash, there is some sine wave shifted like this, and then from again beta, you see from at beta instant, immediately as soon as diode recovers, it will follow whatever value of voltage, source voltage across it, whatever the combined net voltage across it. So combined net voltage across it at instant beta is this. So if you draw, let's say if you draw some dotted value, like this, if let's say we are drawing some dotted sine wave here. So here you can see from this point the load voltage, the reverse voltage will appear across diode. So see, and again till what point it will remain? Till this point, because again from here to beta means, again if you mark here, again this is beta point, from here to beta again the diode voltage is reverse, diode voltage is 0 because it is on. So this is how the diode voltage is drawn here. See, like this. So what is the PIV rating of diode in this case? If you see the PIV rating, so what is the PIV rating? It is minus Vm minus E. It means the PIV rating of diode in this case is required is Vm plus E. Means a higher PIV rating diode is required for RLE type of case. Alright. So this diode voltage I have already drawn here in the step by step manner. So this is how we draw, and this is how we analyze the power electronic circuits. Alright. So this is very important role of seeing, means those steps which we have discussed in my lecture. So now let us analyze how we find this beta. So in RL circuit also we have discussed that we will find this beta. So I am doing this analysis for RL. Oh, before that analysis we have to again find the average output voltage and we have to find the RMS output voltage. So here in this case of average output voltage, if you see the time period is again 2 pi. Okay. Now here you can see that if you take time, means let me mark. Here we can see that the time period is 2 pi. But if you mark time period from 0 to 2 pi, then you have to break the curve 3 times, from 0 to alpha dash to beta, and from beta to 2 pi. Instead, if we take time period from alpha dash to pi minus alpha dash, again the time period is again 2 pi. But if you take limits from alpha dash to pi minus alpha dash, here you can see that you have to break break the curve only 2 times, and only 2 calculations will be involved. First from alpha dash to beta, and from beta to alpha dash plus 2 pi. So let's find out the average output voltage in this particular case. So here time period is 2 pi. I am taking limits from alpha dash to 2 pi plus alpha dash. These are my limits. So here we can see, if you break the curve, you just see the curve here. You see the curve from alpha dash to beta, it's a sine wave, and from beta to alpha dash plus 2 pi, it's constant E. So if you write the curve like this, so V naught omega t is basically Vm sin omega t from alpha dash to beta, and it is equal to E from beta to 2 pi plus alpha dash. All right. So, let us find the average value. So, when we will get the average value, that is 1 upon 2 pi integration alpha dash to beta Vm sin omega t d omega t plus beta to 2 pi plus alpha dash E d omega t. So, here you get 1 upon 2 pi, just solve it. Vm you get minus cos omega t here. So, putting the limits we will get minus cos beta plus cos alpha dash plus E multiplied by 2 pi plus alpha dash minus beta. So, this is my average output voltage. So, just one simple trick I want to give here, that whenever some circuit is there and you want to check whatever average value you have calculated is correct or not, it is very simple. Just go to its basic circuit of that particular section. Means, since in this section we are talking about the single phase half wave rectifier. So, for a single phase half wave rectifier, the very basic circuit is the half wave rectifier with R load, and for R load we know that the R output value, average output voltage for R load is given as Vm upon pi. So, whenever you calculate any average value, average output voltage for some modified circuit in this particular section of circuit, that is for the half wave single phase half wave circuit with modified or different loads, in that case you have to see that if the circuit has not been modified, then that value is coming with V naught at this Vm upon pi or not. It is very simple. Just like in RL load, we have calculated that this average value as Vm 1 minus cos beta upon 2 pi. So, we have to check whether this is correct or not. So, how we will check? So, the only simple thing is that since beta is beyond pi, if it is a simple resistive load, then obviously this beta must lie on the pi. So, if this beta should lie on pi, then again here to check, if here we see if beta is equal to pi, in that case cos pi is minus 1. So, 1 plus 1 2, 2 and 2 will cancel out, then average output voltage will get as Vm upon pi. So, it means this average value of mine is correct. Similarly, in this circuit, if we want to check whether this whatever value we have calculated here is correct or not. So, in this case we have got three conditions. First, E should not have been 0. If E should not have been 0, if E should not have been there, means E is 0. If E is 0, second condition is if beta is equal to pi, means wave is ending at the pi only, and if alpha dash is also 0, means instead of circuits turning on alpha dash, that circuit is turning on at 0. So, now put all these conditions here, what you will get here. So, E is 0 means this second portion of the equation will be completely 0, and here put beta equal to pi. So, cos pi is minus 1, minus plus 1, and alpha dash 0 means cos alpha plus 1. So, 1 plus 1 2. So, here again if you can solve it, 2 will cancel out. Again for if you apply this condition, again you will get average output voltage as Vm upon pi. It means that this average output value calculation is correct. So, this is how if in GATE exam you get any modified circuit, just you have to remember the very basic average output voltage calculation which you have done for that particular section of circuits. Suppose for a single phase full wave rectifier. So, when a single phase full wave rectifier with R load is there, we know that average output voltage is given as 2 Vm upon pi. Alright. So, now if I give you some modified circuit, but it is in the category of single phase full wave circuit, then after modification whatever equation is coming, if you try to make that equation again with the conditions equivalent to the R load, then that average output voltage must come 2 Vm upon pi. So, this is how we check that whether the average voltage which we are calculating is correct or not. So similar procedure for the RMS value also. So this is for as a homework for you. Please calculate what is the RMS value in this circuit and write it in the comment section. Now we are coming to the detailed circuit analysis of this RLE type load. This is very means required in order to calculate what is the beta value, or what can be the beta instant, means at what instant the inductor is going to be discharged fully. So this is the whatever analysis I am doing here, it is equally applicable with the RL load also. So I am doing it for the more generalized case of RLE type load. The same analysis can be expanded to the RL type of load also. So if you see the equations there, means this circuit, when the circuit was turned on, if you write the KVL equations here, you will get Vs equal to Ri plus LdI by dt plus E. So let's write it here. So we have circuit equations like this: Vs equals to Rit plus L dit over dt plus E, or we can write it like this: dit over dt plus R by L it equal to Vs minus E by L. Now if you see this equation is a first order linear non-homogeneous equation. So when the non-homogeneous equation is there, so in that case we have discussed, and you have also studied in the maths also, that for such equations we have got two solutions. One solution is called forced solution, or in mathematical terms it is known as, let's say if the solution is I am writing it as I naught, because we are going to calculate load current. So this I naught t will consist of two solutions. First is I naught CF, CF means complementary function, or when the forced function is 0, alright, and another response is called natural response, or in mathematical terms it is called particular integral function. So we have to calculate both of these functions values separately. So now let's say this is equation number 2. So now first of all we are calculating the CF value, or the forced response, I naught CF t. So for that what we do, we made this forcing function as 0. So when the forcing function becomes 0, in that case the equation will be like this: d I naught t over dt plus R by L I naught t equal to 0. So we can write this equation like this: d plus R by L I naught t equal to 0, where d means d by dt. You have studied this in maths. So we have got only single root, and so that single root value is, the roots are minus R by L. So for such a root, we know that a generalized solution is given as I naught CF t. The generalized solution is some constant C1 e to the power minus R by L t, and we know that time constant tau is defined as L by R. So this circuit equation can be modified like this: C1 e to the power minus t upon tau. So let's say this is equation number 3. So we have got the forcing function solution, all right. So now let's move on to the second solution, second part of the solution, that is particular integral. So when we are moving towards particular integral, in natural response, the name itself suggests natural response means the solution has to be taken of the form whatever the source form is there. Means if the source or forcing function is of sinusoidal nature, then the solution must also be of sinusoidal nature, all right. Suppose if you are applying a sine wave to a RL circuit, obviously you will get a sine wave, all right. So in natural response, whatever forcing function is there, based on that the solution has to be assumed, all right. So there are some already predefined solutions, like for algebraic equations, like let me write it here. Like if you have a function or a source as sine omega t or cos omega t, in that case the solution is assumed to be a cos omega t plus b sin omega t, if the input is like this. If the input is like some kind of algebraic value, whether let's say you have got some value of at plus b, so in that case the solution is assumed to be one higher degree of algebraic polynomial, means at square, let's say a1t square plus a2t plus a3. In this way we have to assume if some exponential source is there, then the solution has to be determined or assumed in the form of exponential. All right. So based on this concept, let's assume the solution like this. Let's assume the solution as like this, that let's say the solution of I naught pit is equal to some constant a1 cos omega t plus b a2 plus a2 sin omega t plus, now again you see, if you see the first equation here, there is some constant, there is a sine wave and there is some constant wave also. All right. So that constant represents a polynomial basically, plus a3, and since the constant does not contain the time varying term, so we have to consider this solution only this much. So we can write at3 plus a4. So we have got this a equation. So we have to put this equation or this solution in this term, in equation number 1. So we have got I naught t, so we have to find the I naught dash t also. So what is the I naught dash t here? That also we have to calculate. So I naught pi dash t is equals to, just differentiate the whole equation A, we will get a1 omega sin omega t plus a2 omega cos omega t plus, this will be 0, sorry, no, not this 0, plus a3 plus 0. So we have got equation B. Now put these two equations, put a and b in 1, a and b in 1. What is one equation? This one. In this equation, put these in this equation. So when you put these all values in this equation, what we will get? Let's write it here. We have got d I naught dash t. I naught dash t means we will get like this: a1 omega sin omega t plus a2 omega cos omega t plus a3. So we have written this value. Now write this value plus, now this value was multiplied with r by l. So a1 r by l cos omega t plus a2 r by l sin omega t plus a3 r by l t plus a4 r by l is equal to Vs minus E by L, means we can simply write, and Vs was what? What is Vs here? If you want to write it here, we can expand this equation like this, is equal to Vm sin omega t upon L minus E upon L. So we have to write like this. So let's write it like this: Vm sin omega t minus E by L by L. Now what we have to do? We have to compare the coefficients. So when we compare the coefficients, so if you compare sin omega t coefficient, cos omega t coefficient, we have to compare this t coefficient and we have to compare the constant coefficient. Alright, so when we compare these all coefficients, what we will get? Minus a1 omega, here cos and here it is sin, yes, minus a1 omega plus a2 r by L is equal to Vm by L. Here the coefficient of sin omega t is Vm by L, and here the coefficient of sin omega t is minus a1 omega plus a2 r by L. Now next coefficient, compare the cos coefficient. So if you compare the cos coefficient, what you will get? a1 r by L plus a2 omega is equal to, since there is no cosine coefficient on the right hand side, then that will be 0. Again, now compare the third, the time t coefficient. So when you see t coefficient, here the t coefficient is 0 and the right hand side there is no t term. So we can write a3 r by L equal to 0. This implies a3 coefficient is 0. And fourth, compare the constant coefficient. That constant coefficient is here, one is this and one is this. So what we will get? a3 plus a4 r by L is equal to minus e by L. So when you put this a3 equal to 0 here, you will get a4 is equal to minus e by r. So we have got a3, we have got a4. Now we are going to calculate a1 and a2. It's simple linear equations we can solve. Just multiply the whole above equation by r by L and lower equation by omega. Okay, and add the two equations. So when we add the equations by after multiplication, this term will cancel out, and what we will get here? a2 common, r square by L square plus omega square is equals to Vm into r by L square. So when you solve it, we will get a2 is equals to Vm r divided by r square plus omega square L square. Since we know that if you have got an impedance triangle, means if there is r, if there is omega L, and you will get as z, where z is under root r square plus omega square L square. Hence this term can be written as mod z square is equals to r square plus omega square L square. Hence we can write this as Vm r upon z square, and we know that cos phi or power factor is given as r by z. This implies that a2 can also be written as Vm upon z cos phi. So we have got a2. Similarly, when you put this a2 value here, we will get a1, and that a1 value is Vm omega L upon r square plus omega square L square, or we get Vm omega L upon z square, and we know that sin phi is given as omega L by z. Here you can see it from the impedance triangle. So this implies a1, and this a1 is with some negative sign. If you calculate this a1, oh, not negative sign. Okay, so we have got a1, we have got a2. Let's calculate a1 again here again. So a1 omega, a1 is equals to a2 upon omega r by omega L, and a2 is Vm r upon this. Yes, it's Vm omega L upon z square. So we get sin phi is equals to omega L by z. This means a1 can also be written as Vm upon z sin phi. Oh sorry, a1 is with negative sign. Yes, A1 is with negative sign. Alright, so we have got all the coefficients. Now put all the coefficients value here in this in this I naught solution which we have assumed here, with this solution we have assumed. So put all the A1, A2, A3 and A4 in equation number A. So when you put these all the values of A1, A2, A3 and A4 in equation number A, what you will get here, there's the particular integral or the natural response of the circuit. I naught t as minus Vm upon z sin phi cos omega t plus Vm upon z cos phi sin omega t. A3 was 0 and A4 was minus E by R. Or in other terms we can write, here we can see it's cos sin omega t cos phi minus cos omega t sin phi. So it's a sin omega t minus phi, or we can write it as Vm upon z sin omega t minus phi minus E by R. So now we have got this particular integral solution also, and we have got a complementary function also. So the total response or the total net current of our circuit flowing, it is I naught t is equals to I naught Cf plus I naught Pi. So here we have got Cf as C1 e to the power minus t by tau, which we have derived earlier, plus Vm upon z sin omega t minus phi minus E by R. And now we have to calculate this C1. So how we will calculate C1? By applying the boundary condition. So we can see that at t equal to 0, if you have seen the waveforms above, at t equal to 0 the load current was 0 because the diode was off, and even if the diode was on, even that time also, if you go for the RL analysis, in that time also at t equal to 0 current will be 0. Why it is 0? Because inductor does not allow instantaneous change of current. So the just prior to the switching the current was 0, that's why I am taking as 0. Alright, so put this value, will get 0 equal to C1 plus Vm upon z sin minus phi minus E by R. So when you solve it, we will get C1 is equals to Vm upon z sin phi plus E by R. Now put this value in this equation and we will get the complete solution like this. I naught t is equals to Vm upon z sin phi plus E over R and this whole is multiplied by exponential to the power minus t upon tau plus Vm upon z sin omega t minus phi minus E by R. Now you see, you just modify the equation. So hence the modified equation can also be given as like this. The net load current is basically Vm upon z sin omega t minus phi minus plus sin phi e to the power minus t upon tau, and here we will get minus E by R 1 minus e to the power minus t upon tau. So you can see here there are two components of the current. You can see one component is decaying, this component is decaying, time varying decaying component, and this is sinusoidally varying component. Alright, so with sinusoidally varying component, when you add the decaying components, that's why we get the load current waveform like this, which we have drawn like this. I have told you earlier that it's not sine wave, it's exponential plus sinusoidal behavior like that. Alright, which is very difficult to make here, draw here. For that you can use some MATLAB programming or some C programming, that how the curve will behave, look like. Now we have to find beta. We have to find beta, which means at what instant the inductor will discharge fully. So for that it is very simple, that at omega t equal to beta, again the load current is 0. We can see that at omega t equal to beta, the load current is again 0. So, omega t equal to beta means t equal to beta upon omega, the load current is again 0. Now, just put this value over in this equation. This is my final equation. Just put this value here. What we will get here? We will get like this, 0 equal to Vm upon Z sin beta minus phi plus sin phi. Since e की power is here, so e to the power minus beta upon pi omega minus e upon r 1 minus e की power minus beta upon pi, not pi, it's tau omega, beta upon tau omega against tau omega. So, now you see, to find beta here, this is not very simple thing, because it is a highly non-linear equation. So, for such equations, to find the solution of such equations, we have to use some iterative methods. That iterative methods may be Newton-Raphson method, it may be a secant method, or whatever methods you have studied in your mathematics class. That methods have to be applied to find the value of beta. And other components you are knowing. Other values we have. What are known components here? The known values are phi. We know phi because we have got r, we have got value of L. So, phi we know. We got omega also because the frequency will be given to you. Then we have got tau also because r is given and L is given. So, tau is equal to L by r, and we have got E also, and we have got Vm also. So, only thing is which is unknown is beta, but since it contains sinusoidal term which is a non-linear function, and it contains an exponential term which is also a non-linear function, that is why this equation is highly non-linear in solution, and solution requires some iterative methods. So, this is how we find beta. When you come to the gate question of such questions, many times this values are given, and at that time you do not have to apply iterative method there, but by some kind of guess or a hit and trial method, we try to find out what should be the near about value of beta must be there. Alright. So, so this analysis which I have done here for the RLE type load is equally applicable for the RL type load also. But in that, for RL type of load, when you write the value, in that case the E will become 0. Please note one thing, do not make E 0 in this equation, because if you make E equal to 0 in this equation, your outcome will be wrong, because it will make complete this exponential term as completely 0. So, please do not make E equal to 0, rather analyze the circuit or write down all the circuit equations from the beginning like this, and then find its complementary function part and its particular integral part, just like here. So, in this lecture we are covering till now, means we are covering up to this point. In our next lecture, we will discuss about the RL and RLE loads with freewheeling diode and other types of load for a single phase half wave circuit. So, how do you like the lecture? And for any doubts and questions, please post in your comment section. Thank you very much.